I'm sorry about this. This is gross. Two totally disgusting human beings together again. Ladies and gentlemen, on the right, Alan Dershowitz. On the left, an aging orangutan scrotum that they have CGI'd a suit on.
Breaking news. Let's talk about the latest in the Trump.
Let's do it.
Cases and.
Oh, it's weird. I don't know. They're never going to learn that lesson. They're just not going to do it, are they? She's not going to. I have to, let's see. Now I'm going to have to go with green on this one. Hold on. Let's see. Chroma. Excellent. We'll go with green on this guy. And we'll go in here. There you go. That's not too bad. That's pretty close. Right? Yeah, all right. Let's see. We'll raise the similarity a touch. And even, that's not bad. Okay, that'll do. Hold on. And then we'll smooth it. Is a smooth guy? No. Okay, we'll get this down to here. Take this to here. Like it. And we'll take this guy right here and we'll just move this over here. And then we'll, yeah, there we go. That's a good dress, I think, right? Anyways, she was gonna say something about Alan Dershowitz, so I figured, that's what you were saying.
Bring in Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz, who's also the author of Get Trump, The Threat to Civil Liberties, Due Process, and Our Constitutional Rule of Law. Professor Dershowitz, great to have you. Thanks for your time today, as always.
Hey, Professor.
Yeah, thanks, Professor.
So a few minutes ago, we reported that apparently Twitter's involved in Jack Smith's target here. They wanted Donald Trump's Twitter account, and Twitter initially fought back to the warrant, didn't comply right away, so they've got a $350,000 fine. What do you think the strategy is here to get Donald Trump's Twitter account? It seems like, wouldn't everything already be out there as public knowledge, Professor?
No, because as the President of the United States, communications that he makes are public property. There are special classifications for his personal communications with family members, but anything he uses as an open network, or if he wants to fucking post on a bulletin board, that's public property. His DMs aren't secret. He's President of the United States. That's what they're talking about.
I would think so.
I would
think that if he tweeted, it's admissible evidence against him. And I can't imagine there'd be anything in his Twitter account which isn't public. But if it is, if there is something, they should have to justify that. Government can't just go rummaging through people's First Amendment.
Yeah, they can. You're the President of the United States. Your communications are covered under classification rules.
Statements. But this is a First Amendment case. This is a case all about.
No, it is not.
What Donald Trump said, what he believed, even the things he did, according to him, because he honestly believed and still believes the election was stolen.
Yeah, no. Again, if you think your wife is cheating, that doesn't mean you get to kill her, no matter how much you believed she was really doing. But, Your Honor, I really thought she was dating that guy. I didn't realize he was her priest and he was giving her mouth to mouth. I thought she was cheating on me. So that's I can't get murder one for this. I reacted. Yes, I planned it for weeks, but I was like, whoever this motherfucker is, I'm going to get him. I'm just saying I should get murder one for her, but manslaughter for him because
he was wrong in my view, but my view doesn't matter under the First Amendment. Under the First Amendment, there's no such thing as a false idea or false opinion.
Okay. Right, but there's fraud. Right? That should be abundantly clear. Is Alan Dershowitz arguing that shouting fire in a crowded theater, that defrauding someone, pretending to be a police officer, for example, like dressing up as a police, that's technically protected speech, according to Alan. I got multiple massages at fucking Jeffrey Epstein's house, Dershowitz.
The remedy for false ideas and false opinions is to respond to them and write better ideas and better opinions.
Yeah, these aren't opinions. These are directions to underlings to carry out conspiracies, to actually engage in criminal activity. What does this asshole actually think that like the DA in any particular city that's dealing with the mob just needs to confront the mob with better ideas about organizations?
To criminalize what somebody said or did consistent with his belief that
No, sorry. You can if somebody believes that they have a right to your wallet and you don't, I don't give a fuck how much they believe it. What they do in that belief and what they say in that belief, especially if they've got a fucking gun in the form of the US government pointed at you that they can use because they are in control of it and you are not, there's a huge fucking difference.
the election was stolen.
What do you make of Judge Tucon in this protective order? Trump's attorneys were not able to make it and set a date for this week. They asked for Monday, but she's forcing it to happen this Friday. It seems like this protective order isn't really a time urgent thing, seeing that it pertains to documents that haven't been released yet. Is this a signal of more things from Judge Tucon in this?
Okay, hi, stupid. The reason why she wants to deal with this before these documents are released is because they are concerned about how Trump will react to these documents once he has them. If he lets out, if he, gives out the names of witnesses and the like, or the private information of witnesses, judges, other counsel involved, because he has it, because he's able legally to look at it, the idea that he could just share it online or post it on fucking Truth Social and get someone fucking killed, they want to deal with that before it happens, so that it stays a blathering free speech issue and not a criminal conspiracy to commit murder or witness tampering.
In this election case that could not be so favorable.
By the way, I have to say, I think that dress is in bad taste. I don't know where she got it. I mean, I always say that, like, all over prints are kind of a mess anyways, but that's just, like, I mean, do they sell that at in the Newsmax gift shop or
for Donald Trump?
I have to tell you, I'm a liberal Democrat who's
no, he's not
voted for Democrats all my life. I do not trust her. I do not trust her to do justice. The test.
Well, why do you trust Donald Trump not to share the personal information of witnesses and investigators?
Is not only must justice be done, must it seem to be done. I don't see it being done. This is a woman who learned how to practice law at the feet of a firm, Boyd Schiller firm, that has had the most conflicts of interest, in my opinion, of any major firm in the United States. Of counsel to the firm was none other than Hunter Biden. Clients to the firm, cases involving the firm, involving Hunter Biden and Burisma. This is.
Yeah, and none of them ruled in favor of Shokin. I mean, in favor of Zlochevsky. None of them benefited Burisma except to make it an above-board functioning company, in which it is right now.
Exactly the wrong person to preside over this case.
Well, then tell me about Eileen Cannon, then, because Trump literally gave her her job.
This case was going to be decided largely by the judge, by what instructions the judge gives.
No, it isn't.
So this case should be taken away from her. She should be recused, and she should not be deciding issues that divide the American people.
Now do Eileen Cannon.
Because they're not going to trust her judgment.
I don't care if they don't trust her judgment. They should trust the judgments, because none of this is going to be fucking hidden. All of this, even if they're not cameras in the fucking courtroom, everybody's going to know her reasoning and see the legal writings. Who gives a fuck if you think she donated one direction or the other? It's the same thing with Eileen Cannon. Either their writings and their rulings stand up or they do not. That's what the appellate process is for. That's what he's got competent attorneys, the 15th best money can buy, apparently. They should be able to handle this for him. And if anybody sees that she's written something that's clearly got, a conflict of interest where she's trying to push it one way or the other, or the ruling doesn't go Trump's way, or the ruling doesn't go the state's way, and people, if anything doesn't go Jack Smith's way under her, does that automatically mean, okay, all right, all bets are off? Everything she writes is gold? No, of course not. I could disagree with what she rules, even if it benefits Jack Smith in some ways. Doesn't make any lick of fucking difference in the courtroom. We can hammer this shit out and watch it play out online all we want to.
It should be taken out of the District of Columbia, which is 95% anti-Trump, and put in West Virginia or some
where it's 95% pro-Trump
purple area where at least there's a shot at getting a fair trial like there is in Florida.
Why would there be a fair trial in Florida?
In the county where the trial is going to be taking place in Florida.
Why would the county that sentenced Jeffrey Epstein to weekend confinement and gave him a key to the fucking jail be your example? Oh, I know why.
But, Manhattan and the District of Columbia, I can't imagine two districts more.
Well, it's apparently the problem is anywhere Trump lives, people eventually grow to hate him.
Trump and more unfair to Trump.
Hey, Professor,
and the American public is not going to trust them.
Just real quick regarding Judge Chutkan, it's up to her to recuse herself, right? I mean, that really would ultimately come down on her decision.
It's her decision, but it can be appealable if she does.
Yeah, and they have to live with it. Now, and if her rulings are off the reservation and totally strange to whatever they're expecting, there will be appeals based on it. Trump, as a matter of fact, should hope that this is the first one, because trying him a second time would be very expensive and they'd hate to go back to it again. Meanwhile, they're putting a lot of attention on her to draw attention away from Eileen Cannon, and the fact that even in Georgia or with Fani Willis or in New York, everybody's moved past that. Even the people who hate him, they're like, yeah, but he's being tried on the actual evidence.
Doesn't recuse herself, and if there's a conviction, there could be an appeal. There's also some argument.
Good, then appeal. Appeal what she wrote when she's done, and assume from the very beginning a bias. And have your attorneys right now, and this is, I'm not kidding. If I was in this situation and I felt like, oh shit, I'm in a trial and the judge is a Trump appointee and knows all about my live stream and fucking hates my guts, but I can't get it changed, and I know this, I'd have one attorney's job would be to fight the case, and there would be a paralegal or somebody else on the case who would literally be taking notes for points of appeal the entire fucking time. And it would be very easy if I felt that the bias was that strong. Your Honor, this should have gone my way, and everything after this would have, wouldn't have been used against me or seen by the court or the jury in a way that would have prejudiced them against me in a way that, and then in this decision, and then this decision, and this decision, because this person fucking hates me, and that's how they live, and they've always, because they were for the other person in this exchange, whatever. You're a fucking billionaire. Stop bitching.
That can be made. Of course, today lawyers try to make creative arguments. They get indicted. But there's some argument that
creative. Yes, that's what they're being indicted for. Creativity.
Could be made that if there's a motion to recuse her and she refuses it, that is appealable or subject to a writ of mandamus right away. There are cases.
Then do it. Yes. Take advantage of the fact that you think you have these details. And if she rules in a way that is egregious, that you think the appellate court would go, yeah, that's over the line, fucking file it. Knock yourself the fuck out. You might even bump to another judge. The problem is you might bump to a judge that is absolutely fair. You won't be able to make this argument, and it'll be worse.
There's always on that. And so that's one other possibility that could be explored.
A lot of motions, many steps ahead in this road.
Yeah, totally. A lot of steps. And by the way, nice dress.
To Alan Dershowitz, I know you'll be walking us through all of them as it pertains to this and the other cases. And let's see what happens with Georgia. We just had some bank records for Biden, so there could be an indictment that they push forward as a distraction. We'll see. Professor Dershowitz, great to see you.
Oh, I see the bank records on Biden. No, you didn't. And by the way, how are any of Trump's filings distractions? Like, are we just going to pretend that like economics people pretend that COVID didn't exist? We're just going to pretend that January 6th never happened. We're going to pretend that Trump didn't fight for over a fucking year to keep classified documents he had no right, and he was aware that he had no right to have. We're just going to pretend that we haven't seen the pictures of him stacking, having Walt Nauta stack those boxes in a fucking open ballroom at a property that he rents out for events, stacking them in the shitter, stacking them in a room where one of his assistants and people who works there, one of the employees there, walked in and classified documents were literally spilled on the floor. That's why he overreacted to that whole, they think when the FBI spread those things out to take a picture of what was in one particular box and put a little evidentiary tent right in front of it. Remember that? And why he got so upset about it? People think I just dump everything on the floor. It's because he'd already seen the picture that the other employee had sent to Walt Nauta that showed exactly that. A box of containing classified documents dumped on the fucking floor in the storage room.
Sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. News Ma. Hey, Ma. Hey, Ma. Let's see. Hold on. One quick second. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's see. This is the...
These 34 victims, what many consider to be a sweetheart plea deal with the Southern District of Florida. Do you think anyone will beat your record of discrediting 34 accusers in a single plea deal?
Well, what happened in that case was they only really had one or two accusers that they could prove, and they couldn't prove that they traveled across interstate lines, so they couldn't prove the federal case.
When you were negotiating that deal, did you say the word whore so many times you forgot the meaning?
No, I didn't use that term, and I would never use that term to describe a young woman. I just laid out the facts. I chose to become a defense attorney because I like to defend the government, and I don't like supporting the government. I like challenging the government.
Man, I hope one day I can look at over 100 accusers and someone worth hundreds of millions of dollars and see that the rich pedophile is the underdog.
Fight the power.
Now, Jeffrey Epstein owned an island in the Caribbean
This is
called
from
Little...
Colbert's show. I don't want to get take out. There's one point where he talks about they actually have the clip of him from this interview.
When Jeffrey Epstein first bought the island, he flew a private plane. We were vacationing in Guadeloupe or Martinique, I forget. And he flew us to the island for one day to see the new island. Nobody was on the island. And we met there with a professor at Harvard Law School and his wife and my daughter. We spent one day there. There were no young people there. There were no girls. There were no women.
That's a big relief you weren't there during Epstein's 20-year alleged...
Yeah, you're one of the first. I don't know where you fucking get off saying I was one of the first people on the island.
Where there were ever any young people or any misconduct that I ever saw. The same is true again. President of Harvard, President of the United States.
Well, that's a convincing defense. Nothing could have happened, Mom.
Right. That's from another interview they cut up. Let me see if I can find. See if I can see if the same. That tie. Yeah. Is this the part? Let's see if this is. The fuck? Start up, you weird page. What the hell? Yikes. I don't know why. Some of these videos are being wonky. It's weird when I start trying to find videos of Dershowitz talking about being on Epstein's island, and suddenly the videos don't want to play. That's odd. Hold on. Let's see if I can probably find the. Give me one moment because I'm about to. This is gross. That's the Hill. There's this. Ah, yes. Okay. So I think this is
One
the
accuser, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, claimed she was forced to have sex with Dershowitz at least 6 times. Dershowitz has forcefully denied ever having any contact with any of Epstein's young women. I spoke with Alan earlier this week about what he sees as the media's...
Alan. I spoke to Alan. Did you now? You call him Alan, do you? All during this period? Even when you're having him on to talk of... All right, Alan, sure.
...failings in its reporting on Jeffrey Epstein.
Sorry, what? The media's failings in reporting on him?
He sees as the media's failings in its reporting on Jeffrey Epstein.
What, they were too hard on him?
Welcome, Alan.
No pun intended.
Good to have you here.
Thank you so much for
So
having me
you
on.
contacted me right after the story ran last month, and I agreed there's more to discuss on this. So my question is, do you believe that the media is withholding details or information that would exonerate you of any wrongdoing with Jeffrey Epstein's accusers and discredit...
Yeah, they have video of him getting a massage from an old Russian lady with his underwear still on at Jeffrey Epstein's house. Sure, why not? Yeah, of course. They have testimony from her.
Perhaps Virginia Giuffre and maybe some of the others.
It's not a question of belief. It's a question of fact. I sent to Netflix and to Julie Brown and to all the others all the evidence. For example, Virginia Giuffre tried to deep six a series of emails in which she's told by another journalist, Sharon Churcher, we know Dershowitz didn't do anything wrong. There's no proof he did anything wrong, but you should put him in your book because he's famous. He did Reversal of Fortune. It'll help you with your book pitch. And then she put me in her book as somebody she did not have sex with.
Listen.
I gave that to everybody.
All right.
Nobody has been willing to put that on.
Well, I spoke to some of these people. You mentioned Julie Brown. Julie Brown, of course, works for the Miami Herald, and she's done a lot of reporting on this over the course of several years. She sent me an email. She said, basically, she said, Alan Dershowitz is in a panic. She said, Dershowitz has never shown me or my editors any proof at all. There are no details we have left out because nearly all the conversations we've had with him, he has demanded that they be off the record. He wants to publish information as sourced only. Is that true?
Totally false. I have a
But then they can't respond because,
recording. She allowed me to record our meeting, and in the meetings with her editor, and it's all a matter of record because it's on tape. I showed her this material. I gave her the material. I wrote a letter to her on the record letter saying she could use the material on the record in which I provided all this information. I also provided it to Netflix pursuant to an agreement with Netflix that they would put it on the air.
Filthy Rich you're referring to, it was, you know, sort of a docudrama. It was entertainment. But you had fair voice in there, Alan, and then you came afterwards and...
Yeah, they're fucking with you, dude. I don't know. I don't think they yell at your teeth, but they certainly didn't warn you that you might want to get them bleached before you come on because, can't be to think of Filthy Rich as one of the people who went to Epstein. This fucker was one of the first people to set foot on Epstein's island after he bought it. Get the fuck out of here. I had no idea. Like, yes, you did. You had to. And if you didn't, why should anyone listen to you about anything else? There is no upside to this. You're either profoundly stupid or disgusting. That's it.
You said that no one should believe anything that was in that documentary, but you were in it. You were in it, and you said you never did anything with any of the...
Yeah, and we shouldn't believe that because that's obviously what he's trying to tell you. Don't listen to him. He was in that documentary. He denies everything, and in that documentary, you should disregard anything he says. That makes sense.
These young women.
There's a big difference between saying I didn't do anything and playing a tape by her own lawyer, David Boies, in which he said she was wrong, simply wrong to accuse you. You couldn't have been in any of the places she said you were at. I gave them that tape. A tape by her best friend.
Not usable, that it's not clear who they're talking about.
Absolutely usable.
Yeah, he's swapping stuff around. First of all, he admits to being at multiple times at Epstein's house getting multiple massages. Originally, it was just like one time, and I left my underwear on. It was an old Russian lady, and now it's like it was a regular thing.
Repeating what they said to me.
Let me tell you, the United States government and the district attorney have heard the tape, and they've credited it, and they've said it's correct. Why do you think the...
No, they haven't. What the fuck are you talking about?
The United States Attorney's Office has...
Yeah, good point, Doc. Why the fuck this asshole still works at Harvard is beyond me.
Used Virginia.
Again, you don't even have to just fucking bragging about being one of the first people on Epstein's island. If I was Harvard, I'd be like, yeah, dude, we got to cut you loose. Fucking, you've known this dude for decades. It's one of two things are true. Either you were fucking around with this dude, which is awful, and you're a criminal and get the fuck out of here, or you had no idea this was happening and it was happening right in front. You were friends with this motherfucker this whole time, and somehow this shit slipped by. Everybody else knew but you. How can we have you teach our students if you're that fucking blind?
You Gouffre as either a witness or a victim.
Okay, let me ask you something.
In both indictments, they went around her. And I think the question the media should be asking is, does the United States government believe that she has credibility problems? I have her own lawyer, Brad Edwards, on television, wait a minute, saying that he doesn't believe that she had sex with any prominent people,
including Prince Andrew. There's photos.
Yeah, A, that's her, and B, she's a child, and C, fuck you. I got news for you, asshole. Maybe it's because he doesn't consider you prominent.
Photographs of her with
He's
Prince
used
Andrew.
the word, no, it doesn't. There's no photographs of them having sex. He has.
Oh my fucking God. Ugh, I can't. So just so you know, that is who the lovely folks at Newsmax bring on to defend Donald Trump. That's their go-to for legal defense. Ugh. Good Lord. You know, there's one rule that Trump does not use in picking his lawyers.
No perverts.
Yeah, that one does not apply, apparently, to any of his... Or people who work around him, I guess.
No perverts.
It's only everywhere, I guess. I guess you don't let any of them go, is what he means. Like, you don't make sure they're working for you. Ugh. Good Lord. So fucking awful. Sorry. That's much better. It's a much better design. I like what she did there. I do. So, whew.